he shot to worldwide fame wearing tiny white briefs in the Dolce & Gabbana advert in 2007. I mean, who could forget it? These days, he spends more time at the school gates than on the catwalk, and he's on an important mission now to help our young men and boys. Making his Loose Women debut, please would you welcome David Gandy. Good to see you. I mean, you know, whenever that advert is shown, look at the reaction. There's lots of whoops, there's lots of cheers. Do you still enjoy that, or are you sick of seeing that picture now?
No, well, that was 18 years ago now. So we shot a few since then. We kind of updated the story.
Because it was a long campaign, wasn't it, as campaigns go?
It was quite unprecedented. It was for 18 years. And we actually, well, Dolce changed the girl. No one seemed to really notice until Bianca was there. So, yeah, I had sort of the two female, and then Bianca came in 2012, and then we had the longest run between us. So, yeah.
And did you have any idea when you were bobbing about in that little boat in your pants that it would have the reaction it's had?
I think when it first came out, before it was, you know, sort of in public domain, we saw it, and it was very different from anything else that had been around at that time. It was sort of quite reminiscent of something that was in the 80s or the 90s.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Because it was around the time of where everybody was talking about supermodels, as in the women, you know, Cindy Crawford, Christy Turlington, etc. It's one of the few areas where men weren't dominating the scene, if you like. And then along came you. You were weren't you sort of branded the first male supermodel?
I mean, it wasn't. I wish it was that easy. But no, it was probably. I came into it 2001, 2002. That advert was 2006, 2007.
Right.
So it was a bit of a slog to get there at that time. And there was always sort of a glass ceiling where sort of male models could kind of get to. And it was actually going into a women-dominated industry. And
they're not listening to a word you're saying.
Yeah, and then I got to work with Christy Turlington, and then you understand actually that they were incredible business women.
Yeah.
So Cindy Crawford and Kate, and you didn't even need to say their surnames. They were brought up on Kate, Naomi, Chrissy, Cindy.
Yeah.
So then I realised you kind of had to brand and put a name so people from outside the industry knew who you were, and that advert gave me the platform to do it. So yeah.
Did you say when we think about those supermodels, they all had a very definite look, and they never really departed from it. So, as a bloke, did you think, oh right, I've hit it with this look? Can I never change it?
The trouble kind of in being a man, we can't actually, because when the women go into a shoot, and you see it sometimes, like the women will have to go into makeup for 2 or 3 hours, and they have hair extensions and makeup and all these different things.
They can be transformed.
Men just turn up, there's not really much we can do. That's like what you see is kind of what you get.
Yeah.
And that's about it. So yeah, you can kind of like change your hair, and you can become more muscular, and that's how I kind of changed it, because the models kind of before me, or what the trend was in fashion at that time, were quite androgynous, skinny young models.
Oh, yeah.
Which I never was.
And we have to talk about what you're doing now, because it's called the Lost Boys campaign, and this is a campaign for the Centre for Social Justice.
Yes.
So explain to us what that's about and why you wanted to be involved.
OK, so I've been talking about men's mental health for many, many years now. And it's something that doesn't really seem to have a solution to it. And it's still the biggest killer of men under 44, under 47. I think it's almost to the stat that our terrible stats aren't really getting any better. And I didn't think there were any particular solutions. The solution was that men need to talk more. I thought that was a bit of a cop-out to say that men need to talk more. And then the Centre for Social Justice were reportedly sort of speaking to schools, and schools noticed that there was a big problem between men of 16 to 24.
Why? Are they just feeling lost?
Many reasons. They felt very demonised. The stats... COVID didn't help. There's a stat that men who aren't in training, education or employment is up 60% in the age group. To compare it to women, that's up 7% since COVID. They're falling behind in every aspect of school, starting school to ending school. And men, speaking to young men, of course, I think we kind of live in our little bubble, so it's talking to young men. One guy I mentored myself, and I started talking to him about this campaign. He said, yeah, I lost 4 friends to suicide. He lives near Newcastle. And spoke to another guy, and throughout his schooling, very well educated, from Wales, he said, I know 11 men who have committed suicide, 4 of them being my close friends. Wow. So there's a massive problem.
Why is it so important to you? Have you ever struggled with your mental health? I mean, I know you've said in the past you are your own biggest critic.
Yeah, I think I have. I've definitely had dark periods, which is why I came out and spoke about it, because I don't always think it's about men needing to talk. I think we're quite different creatures, men and women, and this is the difference between the two. And as women will chat and communicate within their friends, men generally just sort of take the mickey out of each other.
Well,
we
it's
get
the
together
other thing, David,
so.
that I notice, that men don't really have friends, do they? They might have one friend or...
I think they probably have a closer friend or a close net of sort of 3 or 4 friends, maybe.
But women have a support system.
And I think they do, and men don't really. And why I started talking about it was the fact I didn't want men to feel that they were on their own in that situation. So sometimes it's just that comforting thing. So people are going through it. It doesn't matter how much you're earning, what job you do, how successful you are. Mental well-being, I prefer to call it mental well-being instead of mental health because there's connotations to it, that it can affect anyone at any time, and those stats aren't getting any better.
And male role models are very important, and you've made a few headlines today, and we all agree with you, actually, that you've talked about, getting in early with young kids in terms of reinforcing positive male role models for them.
I think there's a lot spoken about. I think we're seeing a lot. Social media is a big factor, but of just this sort of idea of toxic masculinity, which if you look into it, has been a phrase that was brought around in the 80s, but actually it started really being used on social media in about 2013.
And then the algorithms keep feeding you the same
algorithms kick in. I mean, this isn't just affecting... Social media isn't just affecting men. If you actually look at the stats for anxiety and depression and sort of body image, if you look at the amount of cases for young girls, for women in 2013, 2012, 2013, it was fairly stagnant and then just shot up. And no one could work out why this was.
Brenda works with a lot of young people in her son's memory and with her charity. And you said you've seen this with young men just feeling disenfranchised.
Absolutely. And as you say, misrepresented is a lot of it. And, putting it out there that young men you should be scared of them or walk across the road or, I think that breeds the wrong picture of our young men who
It is, and young men are feeling demonised about that. Yeah. And there was a stat that I know 60% of sixth formers are being taught that young men are a problem within our society. And, of course, young women are getting fed this algorithm on social media. And I do kind of feel like... I mean, we are, from the reports, I was saying to men who are great role models to get out there and sort of mentor young men, and we know there's a problem to go and do it, but I also think men are kind of useless at doing stuff sometimes, getting things going, I kind of feel this stat is kind of men haven't quite helped themselves here. We know the stats, we're not doing anything, so I'm kind of saying, well, the empowerment is in women as well to get things going. My biggest role model, because I came into the fashion industry and I didn't have anyone because of there was no one in the male modelling industry that had done what I wanted to achieve. And I had Tandy Anderson from Select Model Agency, and she championed me and still does. 25 years later, she was my strength. She was apart from having my dad and my grandfather.
Well, talking about dad, I mean, I presume you want to be a strong role model for your girls. You've got 2 young daughters, so you want them to see you, helping around the house, doing the washing, doing the school run, which we know you do, and not have this stereotype that dads are a bit useless.
Well, I think, it's down to men as well, too. I mean, but I think we are the first generation as dads having to do that. And it's not the stereotypical view of staying at home or, leaving for work and not doing anything. A lot of dads are having to do that, but also getting home and helping with the cooking and the shopping. And more dads I know are cooking, are the chefs of the family now, or anything else. So
I went to 2 weddings of 30-somethings over the summer, and I was so heartened by the men because all the kids were there, and the men were doing as much. And it wasn't just like, oh, I'm babysitting my own child over here, aren't I amazing? It was like, they were getting the wipes out and doing this and changing the nappies, and the women were over here having a nice glass of champagne.
Oh, no,
I loved to see it. It was great. Young men are doing a lot of great stuff out there, and I think you're right.
They need to be championed. Well, listen, we wish you well with the Lost Boys campaign.
Thank you.
It's a really good campaign and really interesting to hear what you've got to say. Thank you very much. Over to see you, David Gandy. Also, before you go, Are you still... Because you have your own business now, don't you? So
I do, yes.
Do you model for that?
My team forces me to model for it. I'm trying to be behind the scenes much, but they're still getting me in front. We've just done the underwear campaign, which we're going very well. So we've just sold out twice of that. So I had to, get back into training.
Still got it. Still got it.
Maybe for the last time. But,
Thank you very much, David.
You.